Thanks for your patience while we set everything up. And so great to see you all over here, even though it's pouring outside. The weather isn't our best friend right now, but thanks for coming over here. I'm Pooja Srinivas, and I'm going to talk about one of my favorite products in the Google suite of products, which is Google Analytics. And this is our agenda for the next 45 minutes or so. Basically, we'll start with a quick overview. We'll talk about like what are some of the features in analytics right now, and if you haven't logged into your analytics account for quite some time, you will notice like the whole interface has changed and some new features that we'll talk about and things like that. Then we'll talk about getting started with what do you use analytics for. And the first thing that as far as analytics or any kind of data from your website, from your business is concerned, the first thing that comes to your mind is how are my conversions doing? How many people are coming to my shop or my website and buying anything? How many people are actually completing the transactions when they put something in the shopping cart and things like that? If you have a sign up, if you are just looking for leads, how many people are like, sending me a request for a quote and things like that. So the getting started part is going to be a huge chunk of this session, where we'll mainly talk about what do you need to do in order to set up like a measurement plan for yourself? What do you need to do to make sure you are tracking the right thing as far as conversions are concerned in your business? And then we'll talk a little bit about beyond the basics. We will start with an overview of some of the features, but let's also talk about some of the other cool features that analytics has and how you can kind of work on that. So before we jump into the overview, how many over here have used analytics already? Can you just have a quick show of hands? Wow, that's like most of you guys, fantastic. So what are you here for? Like what do you want the takeaway from the session to be? What do you want to learn from this session? Can you just like shout out answers? Anything? Sorry, could you just repeat? Learn to use it properly, great. What else? Goal setup, how to track conversions, that we are certainly going to talk in detail about. Advanced features, yeah, absolutely. What else? Funnel settings, yeah, we'll talk about that too. How do you make sure that the pathway to your transaction is kind of waterproof, so that you are not losing any conversions in between and things like that. So let's do a quick like check-in about, for those who haven't heard of what analytics is. Basically, Google Analytics helps you mine a lot of data from your website. Your website is basically your website is basically a gold mine of customer insights. When a visitor comes to your website and they click on a link, they're showing interest over there. They're showing that they're interested in certain products. When they search on a search engine or they search on like a search box within your site itself, they're telling you this is what I'm interested in. When they're looking for help, they're basically telling you this does not seem clear to me. Like, how do I do this? How do I make payments? Do you accept other like, payment options rather than just credit cards and stuff like that? So all of this information, analytics basically helps you understand how your user is using your website, what are they looking for, and how can we tweak the process so you can give them what they're looking for so they are happy customers, convert more, and so on, right? Here's a quick glimpse of what are some of the things that analytics can help you kind of figure out. One is basically what are your website visitors interested in? If you sell like 20 products, which are like the top performing products, which are products that people are searching for but not buying, which are products that probably not many people search for but they do buy a lot, like it has like the highest number of conversions, that's your cash cow and things like that. How many potential customers did not buy like complete a purchase? That's one of the things that we are going to talk about. How do you kind of find that information? How many leads did you get from a newspaper ad? We'll also talk about how do you track offline conversion. So if you have like a newspaper ad, if you have like a TV ad, how do you make sure that you're able to say, okay, these many people who watched my TV ad also came to my website and completed a conversion kind of a thing. What was the impact of the campaigns, online campaigns that I launched? Maybe I did like a nice PR article, I put it on blogs and stuff like that. How many people came in from there? How are my posts in social networks doing? Nowadays, a lot of us spend a lot of time kind of building our networks on social networks. So how are those doing? If I put in a post on Twitter, on Google+, how are they trending? Am I getting visits from that particular post or not? All of this is basically what analytics can help you figure out. So rather than the slide, let me just jump to a quick live demo itself. This is basically what you will see when you go into your analytics account. And what you see over here are your standard set of reports. Here are the categories that I'll quickly talk to you about on what these categories are. The audience basically tells you who is actually visiting your website. Of course, there's no personally identifiable information. It will not give you the IP address. It will not give you the email address. But it will basically tell you X number of people from this particular city using this particular operating system and browser came to your website on this time, date and time kind of a thing. The next section of reports that you see over here, basically advertising. Now, since AdWords is also a Google product, there's a tight integration with Google Analytics. Once you link both the accounts, you will start seeing deep level information about your AdWords accounts in your analytics data also. And you can kind of compare it with other streams of traffic that you are getting. Compare it with like your organic search. How many conversions are you getting in AdWords versus how many conversions are you getting from your just organic search from say Google or Yahoo or Bing? How many conversions are you getting from people who have bookmarked your site, directly come to your site versus any of the other streams, maybe your social networks and things like that. Traffic sources gives you detailed reports in that sense. So basically you have like direct traffic, which is people directly typing in the website URL. You have referral traffic, which is people who have a link in another site to you, pointing to your website. And then, of course, you have your campaigns and your search engines and things like that. One of the things that I would like to point out over here is search engine optimization. So if you have a Webmaster Tools account, now naturally, because that's also a Google product, you can link both of these accounts, and then you will start seeing deeper level information in your analytics account about how your site is performing in Google search itself. The next that we have, the section that we have is content. Now that you know who's visiting your website, where are they coming from, the next part is what are they actually looking at your website on. So it will basically tell you what are the pages people are landing on, what are the pages people are spending more time on, less time on, what are the pages where people are bouncing off. And a bounce basically means they came to your website, they looked at a landing page, they didn't click on any other link of your website, they just left. That's a bounce. So how many people are just bouncing off your website and things like that. And the final and the most important one, because this helps you make like the right kind of decisions, is your conversions. Whether you are selling something online, whether the whole checkout process happens online itself, or you're selling something offline, but then you're tracking how people are using your web pages, the conversion section is going to be most important for you, because this will help you figure out whether all your efforts are actually helping out or not in this case. Okay, moving back to the presentation. So these reports that you just saw right now, there are about 80 plus visitor characteristics that are just tracked using the default analytics tracking code. So you just go into your analytics account, create a profile, get the tracking code, paste it on all your web pages. These are the number of reports that you can actually get access to. But there's more after that. And the best part of it is there's also real-time reporting available. So moving back to our demo, I'm just going to refresh this. So this is what real-time report looks like, and this is under the home section. Now, naturally, this is my website, so there aren't any visitors over here. But let me just open up my website over here. And you can see how the reporting changes right over there. So let's just wait for the tracking code to kind of load, and that's it. So I basically know at this point in time, these are the number of people that are on my site looking at my website in itself. It also gives you location information. It also gives you referral information. So in my case, I had actually come in a little while before checking one of the links that I have put up on one of my profiles. So it basically says the referral is kitsch.com because that's the campaign I have tagged it with. This is useful in some cases, especially if you are launching a product or your TV ad just came in and you want to see, okay, how many people actually saw my TV ad and jumped and checked out like my website. This is a great way to kind of figure it out. If you're launching a product, you want to make sure your site is up and ready. You can check it out. If you see like a dip in the number of people visiting your website, you know something's wrong. You can kind of fix it and things like that. But especially if you want to make any long-term decisions, whether you want to discontinue a product, whether you want to change your conversion process or anything of that sort, just real-time data will not help. So you have to look at historical trends, because historical trends will tell you there was a seasonal spike, there was a spike during weekends, and so on. That will help you get better results. So use the real-time data along with like your historical trends in order to get the best kind of benefits. You also have something called intelligence events. And what analytics intelligence does is it scans through your data and gives you an alert anytime there's a spike in the data or a dip in the data. For example, I launched something today, and suddenly my traffic went from like 50 visitors to 300 visitors per hour. Analytics intelligence will compare it with my previous day, my previous week, or previous month, and say there's been a spike, and it will basically send you an alert like this, which basically says, here's like the visitors increased by 30% on this particular day, and you can see like the bars over here, wherever it's basically highlighting that there have been any alerts. So this alert, it basically says there's a 30% increase in your traffic, and it could have been caused by XYZ. And it basically just analyzes your data and says, visitors came from here, this. This information is really useful because if you see a sudden spike, you can go to the intelligence piece and then figure out, okay, like where are people coming from? Did I have a launch over there? Did my campaign run over there? What's happening? And try to tweak things based on that in itself. And there's also custom alerts, and we'll talk about that in the advanced section in a bit. Okay. So as I mentioned, all of this real-time reports, automated alerts, all the 80+ visitor characteristics, all of this you get by just putting in the default tracking code in your web pages. But if you want to do more, if there's more on your site that you want to track, you can just customize the code a little bit, and you will be able to track a lot more. For example, if you have like Flash on your website, one of your segments is a Flash, or you have video and you want to track how many people have clicked on the view button or play button or the pause button and things like that. There's event tracking for that. You can track user-provided data. Basically, any information that the user themselves provide to you. It could be gender, male versus female. It could be income. It could be basically, I like red shoes versus something else, like the color. Whatever, any information that you take from the user while they're either registering or signing up for your like website, that information can also be included in your analytics account. And we'll talk a little bit more in the advanced section on how you can use that. Form submissions, site search, basically the search box within your site can also be tracked with a little bit of customization. If you have dynamic pages which change based on like the sections that people select, that can also be tracked. So with a little bit of customization, almost every single piece of your website can be tracked, and the data can be passed on to analytics, where you can then do a deep dive, slice and dice the information, and try to find out more about how you can use this information to make your business better. Okay. Let's move on to the main section, which is basically setting up your measurement plan. So when you start talking about conversions and how to optimize them, how to make the most of them, the first thing to do is to kind of first step back and see if you're first tracking the right kind of conversions. Because if you're tracking the wrong thing, naturally your decisions are not going to be accurate in the same way. So what I'm showing over here is an article from Avinash Kaushik. He's the Google Analytics evangelist, and he's a Googler too. And he has a fantastic article on his blog, and the link is over there. So if you see the goo.gl link, that's the link where you can read the whole article. But it basically takes you step by step into understanding how do you measure conversions in your website. What should be the ideal way in order to identify what to measure on your website in itself. So the first step that's mentioned over here is, even before you start like setting up funnels in your account, setting up goals in your analytics account, is to step back and say, what is the goal of my website? What do I want to achieve by having my website online? Are there like sub goals over there? Is it, I want to increase my sales, but I also want to increase my subscriber base so that I can send in more like emails to them, I can send them product updates and stuff like that. Is it to kind of generate leads so that I can have like a business throughout the year rather than in like seasonal spurts kind of a thing? Is it to create awareness? Do I want my people to associate my product with my brand and always talk about my brand when they're talking about buying my product and things like that, and so on and so forth. So here are a few examples to get started with. So the first step, he says, is determine your business objectives. What do you want to achieve by being online? And then identify what leads to success as far as you are concerned for that particular business metric itself. And then that will help you figure out what are the steps I need to do in order to tweak this section itself. So let's walk through a few examples to help you understand this better. So for example, if I just want to increase sales on my business, I have a business where I'm selling products online. I want to increase sales. One of the things that I can track as a success metric is online purchases. How many people are purchasing on my site once they come over? And that will kind of lead to what's their shopping behavior. Where are they actually dropping off? Where are they sticking and spending too much time on, and so on and so forth. If my goal was brand recognition, I'm a new company, I want to make sure that when people hear my brand, they know what I offer, they know what value I offer, and things like that. Probably what you're looking for is how many people are searching for a branded, your company name, like a branded search, rather than just searching for the generic product name. For example, if I make red shoes, how many people are searching for Pooja's shoes when they are thinking of red shoes, rather than just typing in the generic red shoes keyword? And how would I kind of look at it? I would look at what my branding aspects are. Do I have a video where I talk about here's my brand and things like that? Do I have an awareness campaign and things like that? So based on that, how many views has that campaign received? And that will help me tweak whether I want to increase campaigns, whether I want to make changes in the campaign to increase my awareness, and so on. And of course, the last part, if you want to increase customer loyalty, you already have a good customer base, but you want them to come back and like buy more from you. So what you would really look at is how many people are repeat purchasers of your product, how many people have come back, given you good feedback, and things like that. And for that, you would probably look at, okay, how many people have signed up for product updates, whether it's via email, whether it's on Google+, Twitter, Facebook, any of the options that you offer them, how many people have actually signed up so that I can reach out to them with updates whenever these are available. And before we move on to the next section to talk more about conversions, here's like a quick video to show you. It's more of a spoof, which talks about how online checkouts happen, spoofing it with, say, a shopping cart scenario. So I'm just going to play this.
Hey, just that, thanks.
You sure?
Yeah.
Username?
Oh, Nick M?
No.
NM 1983?
No.
Zandy Pops?
Sorry.
Zandy Pops?
No, okay. Don't worry, I'll help. What's your postcode?
Oh, it's GU749ZT.
Welcome back, Nick Forever.
Oh,
Please listen carefully to this bread license agreement before continuing with your purchase of a loaf of bread. If you do not, blah, blah, blah. You also agree not to use any bread-based products for any purposes prohibited by United Kingdom law, including without limitation the design, development, manufacture of missiles, chemical, nuclear or biological weapons.
Tick.
I'm afraid you've timed out.
What? Sorry. Hello? Excuse me. Oh, yeah, hey.
Just one loaf, sir.
It's Nick Forever, but number 4, not the...
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just going to check that you're a real person. Could you say that for me?
That's not even a word.
Okay, how about this one?
You know what, forget it.
Or this one?
Hippo Potter Nice.
You're in.
Great, I'm in.
£8.85.
It's supposed to be 98 pence.
Plus express delivery.
What's that?
Oh, well, it's express delivery. It's fast. So there's, standard.
Standard.
Standard delivery. That's £4.99.
Why?
Bread insurance. You didn't untick the don't decline bread insurance option.
You know what, I think I'll risk it.
It is quite close to the sell-by date.
Don't care.
98 pence it is. If you want to pop back in 5 business days, it'll be ready for your collection.
Well, I need it now, obviously.
Oh, OK. You want the take-home today price? Well, that's £3.27.
You know what, I'm going to go.
Come back soon.
I won't.
Dear customers, this call will be closing in 10 minutes. Please proceed to the checkout. Please proceed to the checkout. Thank you.
Nice. So if there's one takeaway from this session, I would say go and check out your own, especially if you offer a product online, or product or a service online. Go and check out your own shopping cart behavior and then see if there are any of these issues that are actually kind of making your, like, you know, your potential visitors, potential buyers just run away because they are not able to kind of figure out any of this and things like that. Here. Okay. So moving on to conversions now, since we just spoke about the conversion process itself. As I said, the first step, try the conversion as a buyer, as a potential buyer, see if there are any flaws. The other thing is mainly to identify what's the conversion percentage for your business right now. So most businesses, this is what the conversion percentage looks like. The orange bar is basically the number of people that have looked at your product, that have visited your website. You probably have repeat visitors over here. You have probably people who have signed up for your products, updates and stuff like that. But the green bit is the number of people that actually convert on a regular basis. So most probably, like, the first thing that you would do is figure out what are the steps over here. How does the conversion process actually work? So if you have a shopping cart, do they first look at the product details page, they add to shopping cart, then there's a credit card information page, then there's a thank you page or a confirmation page, and then that leads to a thank you. Are there any loophole went to the product details page, but then went back to the search to kind of modify the search. Instead of red boots, I said red boots like without heels or something like that. Modified the search, came back to another page. The goal flow report will show you that. How did people jump from page to page before they actually entered the conversion. So the goal flow report is actually valuable to also help you tweak your funnel report, because then you can figure out what are the funnels that I can set. Maybe people do not come from the product page, they come from somewhere else. Let me create a goal with a funnel from there so I can see where people are dropping off from there itself, kind of a thing. Right. So, okay, to summarize your measurement plan, the first thing that you need to identify, your key website actions that lead to a success. Why do you need a website in the first place? What are the goals that you're tracking? What, in your mind, is a success as far as that particular website is concerned? The next thing that you will check for, like we saw in the video, what are some of the things that are hindering your conversion process? Why aren't people converting? Is there like a pop-up that comes up all of a sudden? Have they had issues with putting in their credit card information? Try it yourself, you will be able to find that. And then third thing is basically additional characteristics. What else can you add to personalize this information? Do you have gender information? Do you have income information or the choice of the user, whether they are logged in or not logged in? Any kind of information that you can take in from your sign-up form can also be included as part of your analytics data itself. And of course, what's also important while you're looking at what to change is what not to change. What are some of the elements that you're not willing to change no matter what? So for example, if you do a customer survey and they come back and tell you, like, I don't like this blue on your website, but the blue is really important for your brand, naturally you're not going to change that. So you should also be very clear of what am I willing to kind of sacrifice and what am I willing to kind of change as part of the whole process in itself. Right. And then we go into beyond the basics, which is the advanced features as far as analytics is concerned. Now, as I mentioned, there are some 80+ reports that you can kind of access by just adding the basic analytics tracking code itself. Right? But there are also custom reports that you can create, and I'm just going to show you a quick overview of that. So custom reports are basically a personalized version of reports that you can create. So for example, if I want to know how many people watched a specific landing page that has a video that I just launched, I want to know which city they are from, and I want to know whether they converted or not. So now this information is in 3 different reports as far as analytics is concerned. What I can do if that's the kind of information I want to look at in a regular basis is create something called a custom report, where you can design the report as and when you want based on the metrics that are already available in analytics. So for example, here I have created a report that starts with host name, and then I want to see which country or territory the people are from, and then drill down to city information, city level information. And I want to see all these metrics for this particular report in itself. And I can also kind of add other metrics over here. So over here, if I say, for example, I want to just say organic searches. Now, when I save this report, you will see that this has all my host names. These are all the sites that I'm kind of tracking. These are all the metrics that I have asked for, basically including organic searches, which I just added. And when I click on any one of these, it will basically show me the location breakdown. So basically the countries. And I can click in over here and see within India what are the cities where people have come from. These custom reports are great, whether you're doing this for yourself to save your time, or you want to send it to someone. So for maybe you're an agency, you have to like create reports for your clients. Maybe you want to present this report to your boss to show how well the site is doing. Instead of telling them, okay, this information is available in 5 different places, just create a custom report for the metrics that you're really interested in and just share the report rather than telling them, you know, go to traffic sources, go to like browser and OS and so on and so forth. It's also good to strip out all the like unnecessary information. So if the boss does not care about like bounce rate, strip it off, create a custom report that only shows like unique page views, and then that's it. That's all they are really interested in. Or if you want to share it with your marketing department, create like a separate report for your marketing department, create a separate report for your sales department. The best part of it is these custom reports are also saved as templates. So just as you would save, like share a template, if this is the kind of report that your clients really want to see, you can just share the template with them. They will see the same kind of information at their end without seeing your data over there itself. Okay. Yeah. Next, we have advanced segments. Now, how many of you over here use filters in analytics? Quick show of hands. Okay, cool. Not many. So filters basically helps you remove some of the data from your profiles. So for example, if I know that my employees are going to look at my website on a regular basis, and I want to remove those visits from my analytics reports, because it doesn't matter like if my employee comes and looks at the site like 100 times, I can create a filter to say for these IP addresses, just don't show like the data in the profile at all. It doesn't matter how many times that they visit. That's a filter, basically. Advanced segments is more like filters on the fly. Basically what they do is you have the data, and let's go back to the account right now. And I'm just going to pick one of the reports over here. Let's say language. Now over here, it shows me that total number of visits is 851. Now I can go to advanced segments, and I can say just show me visits for new visitors, and click on apply. Now when I go back over here, from 851, I can see that only 596 are actually new visitors. And I can apply multiple filters like this on the fly. Now this hasn't like made any change to my data in itself. I can just go back and then remove it, and my data is going to be back to normal. So if you want to do quick splicing and dicing, you want to see only show me visits from Hyderabad, or only show me visits from Mumbai, or from the US, any location, or only show me visits from people who are using an iPhone. You can use advanced segments to create some of those filters. Okay. Custom alerts. Now, as I mentioned, in analytics intelligence basically has a set of predefined alerts that basically give you information whenever there's a spike or a dip. You can also set up your own custom alerts. You can also set up your own custom alerts in case you have specific information that you need alerts about. So for example, I am launching a campaign tomorrow. I'm sending all the people who are watching that particular ad to a specific page. And I want to know whenever there's a spike in the number of visits that page has received, I can set up a custom alert to say, let me know whenever like X number of visitors has reached this page. Or let me know when like there are more than X number of minutes spent on this page, and so on. This again, like custom reports, you can tweak it as much as you want based on your own interests in the kind of data that you want to see. Custom dashboards, similar to custom reports. You can also create your own dashboard if there are 4 reports or 5 reports that you see on a regular basis. Just create a custom dashboard, add all those reports over there. You don't have to keep on digging into those 80+ reports trying to figure out where the report is and things like that. Custom variables. Now, this is something, as I mentioned, if your user has given you certain information while they are signing up, while they're completing a purchase, you can import that into your analytics account using custom variables. Naturally, there's no personally identifiable information allowable, which means if they put in their phone number, you can't import that into your analytics account. But if they put in, say, gender information, or if they put in their specific choices, like I like t-shirt medium, that's fine. You can include that in your analytics account, and then you can then splice and dice data based on t-shirt sizes, or dress sizes, or anything else that you want over there. I'm just going to keep this over here. I keep clicking away. You can even look at logged in status. Is this a user who has registered and logged in, or someone who's new to the site has not logged in at all? If that information is available with your webmaster, you can port that information back into your analytics account, and that will add more flavor to your reports itself. If they log on to a specific page or land on a specific page, and you want to track how many people have seen this specific page and how are they using the rest of the site, that's again something that you can do with custom variables itself. So this is basically taking your offline data online, basically meshing up the information that you probably might not have included, analytics would not be able to track, but you can include that in by a little bit of customization. And the last part basically that I wanted to kind of show, which I haven't included over here, is annotations. Now, when we talk about like bringing your offline data online, there's a lot of information that we have on probably when a campaign has launched, when you tweaked something on your website, maybe you redesigned it, maybe you made some changes, and so on and so forth. There's something called annotations, which is accessible by clicking on this particular icon just below your reports. And you could just create an annotation by selecting a date. Oops. And then typing in information like and save. So now when I'm looking at my reports, and let me just change the end date over here so you can see what it looks like. So now when I'm looking at my reports, I'll see this annotation which basically says this was the day there was a G-Day presentation. And you could use it for anything at all. You could use it for website was redesigned. You could use it for we launched a marketing campaign. You could use it for something went wrong in the website. It wasn't available for 20 hours, whatever you want. But what it does is it takes your offline knowledge online. Now, and the same annotations can also be shared with each other. So you can either make it shared or private. Shared basically means anyone who has access to the reports can see it. Private means just to yourself. Only this login can see it. But what is useful in this is if the marketer has launched a campaign and you suddenly see a spike, analytics intelligence basically says your visits increased by 500%. You can go in there and see if you launched a campaign, which is why it came in. Was there a link somewhere else where people posted, like did you do, post something on Twitter or any of the other social networks and stuff like that. And that will help you understand why you see a difference in the data in itself. And before we open up for questions, I'm just going to show you the resources that are available for you. The deck will be shared later on, so you will be able to access all of these reports over there too. I would also recommend adding Avinash Kaushik under Google Analytics page on Google+, since a lot of this information, if you're interested in this presentation, you will find a lot more similar information on these Google+ pages too. And the last part is, of course, that's my Google+ ID. You can kind of contact me if you have any questions later on too. And we have also got answers to previous questions asked in GDays in this particular URL, which is a goo.gl URL. So if you have specific questions, you can also go and check detailed responses of answers over there. And that's it from me, opening it up for questions now. Yes?
Yeah.
Great question. So his question is basically, what do you do if you see a not provided keyword instead of the actual keyword itself? And that's one of the questions that has been answered in detail on the link too, so you can read up on that later on. But basically what happens is if someone is logged in to Google search or they're using the encrypted version of Google search, the keyword does not get passed on to any analytics software, including Google Analytics itself. So basically, Google Analytics cannot figure out what the keyword used was, mainly because it's an encrypted or like, a secure version of search is being used by that particular user. What you can do is if you have a Webmaster Tools account and you have a verified account over there, you will be able to see the top 1,000 searches for the top 30 days in your Webmaster Tools account, and that basically removes out any personally identifiable queries for these not provided searches, but gives you the rest. For example, if it looks at the search queries and it looks at the search term Pooja Srinivas, and it knows that there's no one else who's searching for it but me, it will remove that because that's personally identifiable. But if someone searches for a product name or a product detail that's already like 100 people, 100 other people search on your site, it will include that information for the last 30 days, and you will be able to download a CSV and get that information from there. But any other software or any other analytics tool will not be able to access this information at all.
Yeah, on my site I have around 50 SKUs, and I want to track the conversion of each of these products using goals. But the problem is that I only have around 20 or so odd goal URLs. So how can the entire thing is that my end page is also the same, just the value of that goal is changing from product to product.
Right.
So can I have customization?
And are these products sold online? Like the transaction is completed online?
The entire transaction is online.
What I would recommend, so his question was he has 50 products and he wants to track how these products are like converting on his site. I would recommend rather than using just goals, you should use e-commerce tracking, which basically gives you a customized piece of code where you can customize the thank you page with the SKU code, with the product details and any other information that the customer provides. That will help you, and just track that conversion page. Rather than have 50 different conversion pages, just track that conversion page, customize the code so that the SKU changes based on what the user has chosen. That will give you the conversion details. The e-commerce reports give you drill down between product details, SKU codes and any other information that you include in the e-commerce tracking code.
And I don't need to have a full-fledged e-commerce portal such as Magento.
No,
or
any page, just
any
like you include the analytics tracking code, any thank you page where you can put in the tracking code, you can put in the e-commerce tracking code also. Yes, so the tracking analytics, so his question was, do you need the tracking code on the thank you page? You need the analytics tracking code on all the pages to get accurate data. On specifically the thank you page, especially if you are an e-commerce site, you have the e-commerce transaction code, which lets you include more details like the product information, the product price, shipping details and a lot of other information. That is specific to just the thank you page. Can we have mugs for these two gentlemen too? Yes, yes, you can also see information for mobile devices also. It basically gives you what operating system and what mobile device has been used. If you have a mobile specific website, if you have created it, there are specific instructions on how to track the mobile like the mobile website too, and the information is available in this particular link.
Makes sense. One more thing there, sorry. Can you tell what bandwidth the user is accessing the site from? Is there a facility like this?
The bandwidth connection? Yeah. As far as I know, I think there was one report which was there earlier, but I can check on that and get back to you.
Tracking of operator codes in India. So is there something similar that we can use for tracking origin of traffic?
So for any like non-AdWords tracking, like if you have a banner ad or a link somewhere that you want to track, or you're using any other platform apart from AdWords, which is a paid campaign, there's an option to manually tag the URLs, the landing pages. So you can include campaign name, keywords and things like that, and that will kind of send you the information. For organic search, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to add any specific code to your pages. It automatically tracks it. It will, regardless of whether you did the search on mobile or on a desktop, it will be able to track and tell you where the visits were from. Yeah. Okay, let's go to him and then we'll come back here. Yes. Right, that's a great question. So does analytics also include data from social media? So there are some social networks that are automatically tracked by Google Analytics, and there's a separate set of reports that basically focuses on social network tracking. So let's just go over here. I might not have enough information in here, but you can see a whole set of social reports over here. And just a quick note, we are already out of time and there's lunch outside, so I'm here for questions, but in case anyone wants to leave, I don't want to kind of stop you from getting to the food. Yes,
So we created an app on Facebook and we are not able to track it on Google Analytics.
So when you say Facebook app, does it pull data from like an HTML page somewhere? Or
PHP code, which is the
if you can put the code on the PHP wherever it's hosted on your web host, you can certainly track it in analytics. Okay. On your Facebook page itself, it does not let you add any other additional JavaScript over there, right?
Yes.
So basically, you can't track your visits from your Facebook page that way. But if your app is pulling data from some other location and you have access to that location, like you have access to the PHP page or the HTML coded page, you can certainly add your tracking code over there.
Okay. The trouble over there is the first page which is there is based on Facebook, from where the link for the app would be rendered.
Right.
And the app is on a separate server. Now, how do I track two locations in that case?
Unless and until Facebook gives you the option to add your own tracking code, it wouldn't be possible over here. But you could probably try like tweaking the code on your HTML page in order to identify the referral and things like that. So it will need a little bit more customization, mainly because the platform is not like, you don't have access to edit the base of the platform itself.
Thanks.
Yes.
Ma'am.
People are from like India. So I can kind of zoom in and I can see here are the visits over there. So analytics in itself has like a world map that you can kind of drill
But it will not tell me that I am in Goregaon accessing the site.
It depends on your internet provider. So if your internet provider's IP address is in Goregaon, it will show it as Goregaon. If it's not, if it has like a Mumbai or generic kind of IP address, then it will show that location. It completely depends on your internet provider's IP address.
Okay, thanks so much.
Yeah, question.
An ad in a magazine and I say, okay, it's a monthly magazine. So then how do I come to know? Because over a period of month, people may use that voucher to purchase or something,
Right.
So how can I use Google Analytics for that?
So a couple of ways to kind of do that. One, the first thing to do is for that particular ad, whether it's a newspaper ad or a TV ad, you need a unique URL. You need a unique website URL or a page that you're not going to use anywhere else. That's how you will be able to identify these people have come from this particular website. So this particular ad. For example, if my site is poojasrinivas.com, for the newspaper ad, I could have poojasrinivas.com/ad or poojasrinivas.com/ and the name of this thing itself.
And it lands to the same page. It's a different URL, but it comes to the same page.
Or you could use like a short URL like bit.ly or go.gl that has like a specific this thing where you can also use manual tagging, because then the rest of the URL is kind of shrunk. So you can put in like tags like the campaign name, the keyword and things like that, which would then be able to help you track across 6 months kind of a thing.
Sure. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Yes.
Hello? Yeah, so I have an AdWords account and I'm seeing a huge discrepancy between the clicks on my AdWords account and the visits from paid traffic on analytics. Could you tell me what is the average discrepancy and how I can reduce that further?
So at most, the discrepancy shouldn't be more than 10% to 20%. The reason for that is in analytics, in order for analytics to work, you need JavaScript enabled, it should be enabled in your browser. So probably around like 10 to 15% of users probably don't have a JavaScript enabled browser. So that should be the only kind of discrepancy. Any other discrepancy could happen because of couple of things. One, you should check whether your AdWords and analytics account are linked properly. The second thing that you should check is there like a redirect in your destination URL? So if someone clicks on the ad, but then it goes to a page and then redirects to your actual landing page, that could also lead to the loss of the click itself, the visit itself. And the third thing that you could check is your destination URL working properly? So what happens is when you link your AdWords and analytics, in order to kind of identify these visits are from AdWords, it appends a parameter at the end of the URL called the GCLID. That's how our analytics knows this is an AdWords click kind of a thing. So if your website is not able to handle that and your page goes to an error page or anything of that sort, that could be possibly one of the reasons. But I'll add like detailed instructions on my the Google Plus page that I have added over here. I'll add this as one of the answers over here. So you can go through the checklist. If you still see a discrepancy, reach out to me and I'll look at it personally.
Sure, thanks.
Yes. Can we get a mug over?
So is there a way to track from which tweet am I getting those views? Because if you see the referral link, referral visits.
Right.
So there's people posting on Twitter. So I can go on the social media tab and just check these are the visits from Twitter. But is there a way to find out from which specific tweet, from which account have I got the click?
Right now, I don't think you can drill down to a specific tweet. But what you can do is just as we talked about like the offline ad campaigns where you tag the URL, when you use a short link in Twitter itself, you could have it redirect to a manually tagged URL. And that could tell you which specific tweet it is.
Yeah, but if there's customers of mine, for example, if they're tweeting my URL, just my URL, then it wouldn't be possible, right? Because they wouldn't know the link that I'm tracking with.
I can check in on that and see what the workaround is. But for now, you won't be able to drill down to a specific tweet. But I'll certainly post an answer over there.
Thank you.
Yeah. Can we have a mug here too? Yes. On your own server, like you have a completely separate hosting platform where you're hosting these, where you can edit the code and everything else, like you can edit the code for the player and all. There's something called events tracking that you can use, which will help you tweak, like, you know, when someone is clicking on the play button or the pause button, or how long have they seen and exited and so on. If it's hosted on any other platform like YouTube or VMO or any other place where you can't put in your own tracking code, then you have to kind of depend on their tracking. So YouTube provides YouTube Insights. VMO and other like video hosting software certainly provide their own. So unless and until you can edit the code, you will have to depend on their tracking system.
But is there a way where I can use that URL and you know, assemble all that in my analytics account and get that?
If you are like sending people over to your website which has your tracking code on it, you can certainly kind of track that. But if they come directly to YouTube, the only way you can see it is in YouTube Insights, not on analytics. So any page that has your analytics tracking code on it, you can track it. Yes. Okay, that's the last question, but I'll be around for questions later on. Yes.
Whether it is working on a cross-platform like Linux and...
Can you speak in the mic?
Whether it will work on a cross-platform like Linux and Unix and like a browser. Can I work it on a Safari
this is
or...
all in a browser itself. So any kind of platform where the host name shows. So if you are just using like a Linux box or something of that sort, you won't be able to track it. It has to be
Safari and Mozilla.
It has to be like a...
Which platform they are using right now in the Chrome? They will use like a JavaScript.
Oh, analytics will work on all browsers. That's not an issue.
There is no need to update the browsers and like Internet Explorer.
It's possible to use
because
on all browsers.
In a Chrome, it will work like the same. There is no need to update on all. But in the like Internet Explorer or Safari, there is any need to update the JavaScript and all.
if they do not have JavaScript, it won't be tracked. But any other browser, any browser that has JavaScript enabled,
It's a compatible with the other browsers, so not necessarily there is in Chrome also.
Yeah, it will work with all. Yeah. Yes, that's the last question, but I'll be around. And there's lunch outside in case some of you forgot about it.
Suppose we're selling products online. Suppose we're selling it not only on our own websites. Like, for example, if I retail a product and I also have it on Flipkart or Home Shop 18 or something.
Right.
Yeah. I want those conversions also factored in. But I want to know that those are, separate. So, for example, if somebody comes to my site and sees the product description and then buys it on Home Shop 18, that still counts as a conversion to me. So is there any way to differentiate those and have those also as part of analytics?
That's a fantastic question. The only way is to kind of have a manual system in place along with your automated system. So anything on your website where you have your own tracking code, it naturally gets tracked automatically. You don't have to do anything else at all. Any place, for example, you get an order from Home Shop 18 or Flipkart or any other place where you are not able to put in like the information, like the analytics tracking code or anything else, what you can have is a manual process where you, as soon as you get the information about this particular product being sold, you have a page on your site that you access, which includes all the product details that gets registered over here. You're losing out, of course, on like the referral sources, like where they came from and all, unless and until Flipkart is willing to offer you that information. If it is, you can again manually enter it, but if not, it's not. So the e-commerce tracking works in this way. You have a piece of code on the thank you page which has all the details about the purchase, and you could just create a dummy page which says anytime I get an information from Flipkart, I just go visit this page, update the numbers over there.
Okay. So kind of like forwards any communication I get from confirmation communication to that page.
Right.
And I track that page traffic.
That's also a good way if you're doing business offline. So if you sell online plus offline, that's also a good way to include that information back into analytics.
So that way you use analytics for your entire sales report instead of just, okay. Thank you so much.
Thanks everyone. I'm still here so you can come over and ask me questions, but I think they need the track for later on. Happy to answer any other questions that you guys might have.